Thank you for joining us for another episode of USATF Journey to Go Zone podcast. I am your host, Erik Kynard Jr., joined by the Wallace Spearmon Jr., and we have a very special guest with us today, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from, are we coming to you live from anywhere?
I don't know, but dang, that was a fast clap. Welcome to the show. How y'all doing?
Nah, we was just, he ain't recording. How you been recording?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, we lit. Let's go. All right. We're coming to you live from Punta Cana with the Midland, Texas finest. You know what I'm saying? He got more Dallas Cowboy cheerleader fans than Dallas Cowboys got wins and cheerleaders.
Damn.
All right? You know what I'm saying? We have Bryce Hoppel with us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I said that correctly, right? You know me and you. You just beat me on the obstacle course over there holding it down for the Jayhawks, and so I'm feeling a little perturbed about our interview.
He had a few little splashes too, though.
He had a few little splashes, man. He got some scars too. I see he looked like somebody.
They tried to pull me out of there. I had a scar.
He got a scar on his
arm, and
I didn't see that.
checking me down, make sure I
looked
was
like he
not
was in
bleeding.
Wolverine and
Chris
Deadpool.
Bailey, huh?
Yeah, I got some battle wounds out there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, hey, look, all is love today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, when it's actually a real competition, bro, you got to go at it.
No,
You got to get Tori
Alright,
Franklin back, bro.
I know she's 2-0 against me, and it was embarrassing. We gotta get her at least once.
It's all
Well,
we'll
get
tomorrow, the gloves come off.
Yeah, right. We'll get away from the competition in the pool and on the obstacle course and talk about your. You had a huge 2024. If you want to dive into, obviously, Olympic trials record out there. Man, you got me to. We're going to throw some disclaimers on here, but say some things that I have never said before and out there in Paris for sure. So, supporting the good old Lawrence, Kansas resident. And
might have heard a few rock chalks
might have heard of something, maybe a few. But, man, American record at the Olympics in Paris. Man, I think Dwayne Solomon's race in 2012 was – from my perspective as an athlete, what I saw with my own two eyes before watching you in that final in Paris, one of the greatest non-medaling, you know what I mean, races. And then to watch you go out there and do that was do you feel like it was bittersweet? Because, I mean, from one perspective, you can say you swung and missed, but from multiple perspectives, you swung and hit. Right?
Yeah,
so
in the moment, it was bittersweet because, like, so much building up to that, it was like, medal on my mind. Like anything short of medal was like going to be a failure to me. And so like in that moment, like on the coming through the line, I was like, man, like I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. But then you look up on the board, 141, and we get to take the American record with the name, and man, that's special. Now it's feeling special now, and you know it gets me excited to move forward and like keep owning American records, and hopefully there'll be medals in the future.
Yeah. So after having the biggest race of your life. And now, we fast forward, we're in October here currently. The hair is down right now, but it won't be in 2.5 weeks, I know for sure. Has the perspective changed on fall? Has the perspective, changed on indoor as we're having a World Indoor Championship this year in Asia? Is the approach going to change going into an Asian World Championship next year in a global calendar shift as relates to, training and preparing to peak?
I think there is going to be changes. I think we're going to try to tighten up the screws here and there. Like I feel like we might be sacrificing some things so that we're better when it comes to Tokyo. And so I think going into this indoor season, we're going to kind of make it more abbreviated. Might not be on the world team for indoors, just to, get in some solid training blocks and go for that real goal outdoors. Not that anything. I mean, I'm super excited to be a world indoor champion this year, and so that was huge to the build for my time in Paris, and I think it all worked really well, and we did all that we could this year. But there's always ways to get better. There's always ways to get better. So I think we can tighten up, make it airtight, and it's you got to make sure you're doing everything that you can to peak in those moments. And I think we can definitely build.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to bring a world indoor to freak because I know how that kind of probably feels to be like, oh, I won inside, and then maybe I spent a little bit too much earlier in the year. Yeah, so.
And I don't think it did. Like looking back, it's like, all right, who beat me at the Olympic Games? And it's like, man, these three guys didn't run indoors, and it's I don't like to look at it from perspective. I think for me, it gave me that world title, and it built me up. It built me that confidence so that I could do the things that I did in Paris. And but I guess going into this next year, it's like, all right, let's make sure that we do everything we can, because we got that under the belt now, and now it's like, I got to get a medal outdoors. And that's where the sights are for sure.
You know, we talk about this year. What went well? From your perspective, what went well?
I think it was the culmination of a lot of things. I think, being in Lawrence, we had everything was going great. I had a great training staff, Coach Witt there, Coach Redwine. All of them are incredible for me, and they're still coaching me through these times now. I think I was more so looking for moving on in my personal life to like look for other professionals to be around and look for somewhere I'll be, I guess, more happy outside of track and field. You know, it was a big move this year to just be like, yo, I'm going to altitude. I'm gonna go spend my entire year in Flagstaff, Arizona, and that was it was pretty scary. But I think I got lucky that I had some incredible teammates. I mean, Hobbs Kessler was right there along with me through the whole season, and so I think some of those changes were necessary, and I was happy it worked out.
That's definitely a dynamic duo. All right, so we know it went well. What can we get better at? What will we see you improve next year?
He's got to spend more time in Lawrence.
Yeah. I think it's hard to split the time. You know, I feel like there's a lot of great people I've had in my life. Again, it's Coach Witt has been incredible for me, and so I think spending time there, spending time in Flag, and right now spending time at home in Texas, you know, get all the attention that people that make it possible for me is always been one of my big mantras, because it's not an individual sport. It's team, and there's a lot of people behind me, and so. But as for like the specifics of how we can get better, man, I wish I had the formula for that. But you know, I think there's just things here and there. So again, like you miss a big training block by focusing on indoor worlds, and especially with it, we'd have to go over to China this year, which like I feel like that takes a lot out of you, and you kind of go up for the peak there to get a title there, and then you kind of got to reset a little bit. And it's like, all right, now we're going into outdoor. So this year, I want to make it all one solid build towards outdoor, and I think with that mindset and making sure we're doing everything that we can to be ready for that, I think is where we can get the gains, hopefully.
All right, I give you crap every time I see you about one event. Which one is it? Running which event?
400. And
what do I want you to run?
I think I can get in the 44s.
Come on, man. I think that's going to do amazing for you, bro.
Yeah.
You run 44. If you run 140 and 44.
All right, pass the word along. I want these 800 guys to be considered to run on these 4x4 teams for the.
You got to give them a reason too, and I promise you, if you do that, like, look, they're not gonna be able to avoid you. I'm about to say David Rudisha ran 140, and I think he ran 45 or 44.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the water now, but all jokes aside, like I think you're capable of it. I for whatever reason. Since you were in Kansas, I've been giving you crap. I think you can run 44, man. I believe it.
I got to give a shout out to this then. I got Uncle Vernon. I'm coming for you in the 400.
Is Vernon graduated to Uncle Vernon now? Is that what happened?
I like to always.
They were roasting him on social media because they were talking about Lil Quincy and Vernon. They were like, who was this bald-headed dude?
It was funny. I feel like Vernon got designated as Quincy's chaperone there, being in the village, but he's always talking mess that he can give me a 600. So you know what? I'll surpass the 600. I'll come down to the 4. So
there you go.
We'll see if I can put the speed on in that. But I think it'll be fun to get in a 4.
Who were some of your favorite athletes to hang out with during the games?
We had a good squad. I feel like just the whole team together going down to that lounge, it was getting me hyped. Like I was like one of the last events, and just being around all those other guys, like Cole, being around Rye, and just seeing the excitement that those guys had, and them go out and get those gold medals. I was like, man, that's another one of those bittersweet moments, because I saw my teammates do these crazy things, and we're on Team USA and incredible athletes, and you know it felt pretty tough to not come through for the medals part. But no, it's hanging around with Noah too. A lot of great teammates for sure.
You did opening, huh?
Yeah, I want to be there for the full experience. And that's another thing where you can tighten up with it, make it airtight to where like I came in for opening ceremonies, I came down from altitude, but it's part of the experience. I like to think that those things don't take away from competition, where it's a once in a lifetime where you get to be on a boat and go into the opening ceremony. So I'm glad I did that. So
number 1, did you go see any other sports? And then number 2, were you excited to meet any other athletes while you were at the games?
I think one of my coolest experiences was meeting another athlete. I met Coco Gauff, and she was, again, another just like moment sitting in the lounge, and we had some of her tennis matches up on the screen, and I was actually like getting to sit right next to her and like ask her about tennis, where I was like, I don't know much, I'm not very knowledgeable on tennis, but it was cool to like pick the mind of someone that's incredible at their sport. And no, that was a surreal moment for me, and of course getting to see some of the basketball guys was pretty dope. And then Joel Embiid, fellow Jayhawk, had to say what's up to him. But no, it's unfortunately I was too focused in on my event again was like at the end of the Olympics, and so I didn't get too far out of my comfort zone and go watch anything else. But I was down there in the lounge watching on TV everything. So
That was dope, man.
yeah.
Now you alluded to the team that you have a little bit with coaches and training partners. I spent a lot of time in the trenches, as we call it, as you know, out there in Paris in the warm period. And I saw what to me was pretty amazing. I was sitting with Hobbs and his dad, and you were about to start warming up. And you hadn't asked him yet, like, if he would do a run with you, right? And so Hobbs is sitting there, and his dad's like, get ready. You know, you got to do a run with Bryce. He's like, nah, only if Bryce asks. Like, you might not want to, right? And then like 4 minutes later, you walk up like, hey, you warm me up like that. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Like, so it's pretty dope, like, to see the camaraderie there, especially, you know, he's there. He may, you know, for all intents and purposes, didn't have the games he wanted to have, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he's sitting back the night of your final waiting for you to make sure you get warmed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool to watch. So.
I think to go back to Wallace too, and on that, I think that was like one of the biggest things. We do have a special group of guys over there in Flagstaff, and Hobbs being one of them, Morgan, Mike, Hobbs' dad, and, you know, Mason and all those guys. I think we had something special in that house to where, you know, there's a competitive side of it there. It's where, like, we race in the 800 against each other. It's where we don't want to lose to each other, but I think first and foremost, like, we're there for each other, and we're there to complement each other and help each other be great. So it's definitely thankful for those guys.
Man, you went out there and showed out. So if anything, out of anything and everything I saw, I do want to say it's been a pleasure to get to watch you run, man. Like, a lot of people come to the sport and you see them go through adversity and they just can't handle it. Like, they fold. But some people, like, you know, they feel that pressure and they grow. So it's been cool to get to watch you. I think I met your family over in Paris, maybe.
Yeah, had a big cheering cheering section out there.
And that's always awesome to have, huh?
That was a big change from Tokyo. You know, you could hear a pin drop in that stadium, and then I think I had between like family, like close family, and then friends, and then extended family, and then just like friends of friends. I had like a group of like, I think it was like 32 people out there all from Midland, Texas, or from Arizona, where my mom's side of the family is from, and that was special. Like, you know, for that much sport to come and see me run, you know, those are the moments that make you feel you're doing something special for sure. And thankful for those guys.
All right, I'm gonna mess with you now. So, do you think that was the strongest 800 team the Team USA has ever sent to an Olympic Games?
Strongest, I think so. You know, it's hard to, like, the 800 was nuts this year. Like, I don't even know how to describe what happened this year. To where you have so many guys running 141s. I personally, you asked me last year, you said, Bryce, you gonna run a 141 next year? I said, probably not. You know, it's crazy to think that, like, we made that progress, and I think it's definitely like a group effort. And to have Brandon Merrill on our team, incredible guy, and again Hobbs making that team in the 8 and the 15. You know, we put together something special, and I think it's cool to see as many U.S. guys in the final as we can. And so I think one of the coolest things that was, like, special to me, because I was just like more young and impressionable, but it was me, Clayton, and Donovan on that first team that I ever was, and we got all three of us to the final in Doha. And that was when Donovan set the American record, and so that moment is special for me. Like, that was a fun team to be on. It was my first team to be on, and I think the U.S. can definitely put on a special team. We gotta get those medals. So I think we'll come back in Tokyo, and I'll hopefully elevate these other guys around 142s, 141s.
Yeah, we usually have a sprinter version of this question. I'm gonna turn this into, you know, the 800, which is technically still a sprint, even though I don't want to care to admit that. Give me your top 3 fastest first lap 800-meter runners. Who goes out like they're crazy?
I mean, first thing that came to mind was the world record race in 2012, Rhodesia. I think he came out like I think it was 49 low, right?
Okay.
Or was it 48 high?
I think it's 48 mid or high.
I think it's 48 high, and then he kept pushing on that back 300 where I was like, you've never seen anything like it. Like, I still feel like you've never seen anything like that race, to where, like, if you can master that and come out and still look like David Rhodesia was looking through that first 400, I mean, that's when you get the 140s, you know? Another one, this is just like, I'm going from personal experience and not necessarily just from my, like, knowledge of the 800 in general, but this was, I got to give a shout out to Isaiah Jewett. It was for making the Tokyo team in the trials. He ran away from all of us. He was coming out of college from USC that year, and he was still in his USC uniform, and he just ran away from us. And I was like, oh, like he's got to come back. He's gonna blow up and he's come back. But I'm pretty sure he had like a 50-meter lead going into that second lap, and I was like, man, like I think I was in fourth at the time. I was like, I better make this happen. And I was like a little injured going to that trials, but we reeled them back. You remember, again, going back to Doha 2019, the Puerto Rican guys. You remember watching any of those? No?
Refresh my memory.
I feel, well, he was Wesley. His name was Wesley Vasquez. Always had his hair like dyed like bleached or whatever. And he would always take us out. He'd always like try to aim for 48. And he would just, I don't understand how you go 40, like getting out in 48.
Why?
If you're going out 48, like you better be taking us through. Help us run a 139.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Is 139 possible?
I think we'll see it in our lifetime. Is it possible in the next couple Olympic cycles? I think let's see 140 first, you know? I think you're starting to push the human limit though once you ask for sub 140. You know?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is some freaking running.
Yeah.
And I mean running.
Well,
That's Forrest Gump running for sure.
I'd hope we'd see it in our lifetime, but you know, it started feeling possible. You know, like once I hit 141, I'm like, man, like it's possible. Like asked me last year, is it possible if you run 141? I probably would have said no. And now it's like we did it, and now I know what it feels like, to where you're hungry for more after that. You know.
Not me. Hungry to retire. My legs would be, boy, you have to stretch it.
I think as fans of the sport are definitely hungry for more Bryce in the 800 meters. We definitely are. I mean, I watched your career from, you know, I had to watch you wear that blue uniform for a while there.
Wearing that Jayhawk on the chest.
Yeah, exactly. You know, from college and then transitioning into the pros, and now, you know, taking the global stage, you know, kind of by storm here. It's been good because I know it wasn't easy. It never is. I think to the fan, it always looks like it's instantaneous. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, he had a bad championship this time, but then he came and did this or whatever, right? Yeah, but it's to the athlete,
it feels like an eternity sometimes. You know, like you have a bad championship, and it was the one in Eugene, 2022. I got knocked out in the prelim. There's a little bumping and shoving and hurdling over guys, but it's, you know, you still got to get it done in the moment, and you can't rely on getting pushed through on protests and stuff. And, you know, I got out in that prelim, and you have to wait an entire another year. Or, like, I guess we had Budapest coming up that next year, and it feels like an eternity. It's like, man, you go into the off-season, it's get back to work.
The longest off-season ever,
back
right?
to work.
LA 28 in the cards?
Absolutely. I think I'm not even stressing on that one. I'm thinking World Championships after LA, but no, I think the thing that like I'll be in LA and I'm gonna be on the team. I want to be still in my game to where I'm shooting for medals at that time, and so I think that's what's on my mind. I think there's no doubt I can be there. It's whether or not I can stay healthy and keep that 4 years of training to be shooting for the medal stand.
You heard it here first. Sponsors, get your money ready.
Get your money ready. All right, I got another one too.
So get your bids in now.
All right, so World Championship post LA. Will we see you move up more seriously?
I think so.
Yeah.
If not before then, I'll probably start. I mean, I've seen this possible from my own teammate. He's running the 8:15 double, and he made it apparent that you can do that. I think again, we're talking about 400s earlier. I'm probably more of a natural 8.4 guy, to where the speed and like shooting for a 44 is going to come more natural than shooting for sub 15 times don't even come naturally to my head, you know.
Right.
But we'll see. I think the altitude and we'll see if the endurance side comes to me. I'll get some 4s in before we think about moving up to the 15.
All right. Sounds good, man. Yeah. Well, listen, Bryce, we appreciate you for representing red, white, and blue. Yes, and I know they appreciate you and Lawrence for representing, the Jayhawks. We got you guys in a few weeks here for homecoming, so I'm going to shoot you a text. I am going to be in Manhattan, so I'm going to be texting and talking as much trash as possible. And
that's going to be brutal when we beat you on the Sunflower Showdown.
Now you want to talk basketball.
Yeah.
Arkansas might beat y'all on basketball this year. Coach Cal was popping. Hey, Kansas, bro, they only missing the AR in front of them, and they can be our little cousin.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. Arkansas has got a basketball team? I didn't.
Oh, one of those.
We got a track team.
Hey.
Yeah.
like we said, man, we definitely appreciate you, Bryce, and wish you continued success, man, and enjoy the rest of your time here in the off season here in Punta Cana.
Yes, sir.
And hey, man, we look forward to seeing you out there on the outdoor track next year. As we know, your indoor campaign will be a little abbreviated.
Yes, sir. A little bit.
Thank you all for joining us for another episode of USATF Journey Goes On podcast. Peace.